evening. I'm Chair Brian Haggerty of the Board of Trustees for the El Paso Community College. I'm calling the meeting that was scheduled for today, September 22nd at 5 p.m. If anyone wants to view this, you can go to the YouTube channel, refer to the link EPCC, Board of Trustees, Meetings and Announcements. So I'm going to call the meeting to order. Pam, can you call the roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Mrs. Robles.
Present.
Mr. Uxer.
Here.
Ms. Pena will not be here with us this evening. Ms. Sanchez.
Here.
Dr. Graham.
Here.
Ms. Najera.
Here.
Mr. Haggerty.
Here. Okay, Pam, 1.4.
Item 1.4, approval of minutes.
Move to approve. Second.
Any discussion? Call the question.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Najera.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye. 1.5, again, I want to welcome everyone to our meeting this month, especially our staff members and our guests. And 1.6, Pam.
Item 1.6 is the open forum. We've had no one sign up for open forum at this time.
Okay. 1.7.
Item 1.7, presentations by individuals, groups, and organizations. Item 1.7.1, Dr. William Sarata, college president, will recognize individuals who have retired from the college district.
Chair Haggerty and members of the board, have two that we'll recognize this evening. Estela Ortiz, Workforce Development Program Specialist. Ms. Estela Ortiz has been employed with El Paso Community College for 15 years under the Center for Corporate and Workforce Training Department as a program specialist. During this time, she was assigned to oversee the Institute for Customer Service Excellence, where she was the facilitator for numerous trainers for corporations, businesses, and school districts. She served as advisory member for the YSD Marketing DECA program. She is a certified online test proctor for the National Retail Federation, Rise Up, and Counsel Worldwide, known as Scantron. And she is a certified professional in customer service through the National Retail Federation Foundation in Washington. Ms. Ortiz previously worked for Levi Strauss & Company for 24 years as an HR manager. It was while she was at Levi Strauss that she partnered with EPCC for GED and ESL classes for their employees. Ms. Ortiz has over 20 years of human resource experience and over 15 years of experience in leadership and customer service training to both English and Spanish-speaking audiences. Ms. Ortiz shares that her 15 years of employment with EPCC have been rewarding in many ways and is sincerely appreciative of the support provided to her during her years of service. The simulation of EPCC's culture and the opportunities for promotion and professional development she was given made coming to work each day a pleasure. She tells us that while she is looking forward to retirement, she will miss being a part of her department and EPCC overall. She trusts that the friendship she has developed at EPCC will last a lifetime. She will forever be grateful to Ms. Luz Tabada, her director, for giving her the opportunity to work for EPCC. Ms. Ortiz looks forward to spending more time with her family, travel, and enjoy her 8 beautiful grandchildren. Congratulations. Next is Geraldine Riceke. Geraldine Riceke started working for EPCC in 1978 as a part-time secretarial science instructor at the old Fort Bliss Barracks. She taught typing, shorthand, machine transcription, and office procedures. In 1981, Ms. Riceke was hired as a full-time instructor at the Valle Verde campus and continued in the business secretarial science discipline. In fall 2012, she transferred to the educational psychology discipline, where she taught time management, research methods, and how to be a lifelong learner. Some of these skills included maximizing resources, listening and taking effective notes, reading actively, excelling at taking tests, creating a healthy mind, body, and spirit, and building supportive and diverse relationships. Ms. Riceke attended UTEP and completed a Bachelor's of Science in Secondary Education with a minor in Secretarial Science. She also completed a master's degree in Curriculum Specialist with a minor in Instructional Technology Specialist. Ms. Riceke has loved her work at EPCC over the past 40 years and says that she will miss her students and colleagues, but it is time to move on and enjoy retirement. Thank you, Professor Riceke, for your service and dedication to El Paso Community College.
Can you pass on to them on behalf of the board, Dr. Serrano, thank you so much for the service, and I hope they enjoy their retirement.
Absolutely, Chair.
Item 1.7.2, optional presentations will be made by the presidents of the Classified Staff Association, the Professional Staff Association, the Faculty Association, and the Student Government Association. We have two of our constituency groups that are here this evening that would like to present to the board, and upon their conclusion, I will read one other report.
Okay, podium's open. Whoever wants to go first. Yes, sir.
Members of the board, Mr. President, vice presidents, deans, others, we are the new Faculty Association Executive Committee. I am Dr. Albert Burnham, Professor of History. I am the new Faculty Association President. I'm also district-wide coordinator for history, and the others can introduce themselves. Well, yes.
Good evening, everyone. Can you all hear me well enough? Yes. Take off? Okay. My name is Dr. Elizabeth Acosta. I am the Vice President of the Faculty Association. Really excited to be a member, and I'm in the English department. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Sandra Cuevas. I teach math at Valle Verde, and I'm the secretary.
Hi, my glasses are fogging up, sorry. My name is Pat Barrientos, and I'm the Vice President of Adjuncts, and I teach math at Trans Mountain.
We would like to thank, on behalf of the faculty, Vice President Shaughnessy for finding the money for the 2% pay hike and for the incentive pay. And we would like to thank the board for unanimously approving both of them. And we would like to thank everyone for working with the faculty regarding our concerns with the new contracts and the RIF policies. So thank you very much. That's all we have to say, I guess.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Good evening, Chair Haggerty, members of the board, President Serrata, staff, and guests. My name is Laura Gaither. I'm president of Classified Staff. The Classified Staff Association would like to thank the board and President Serrata for the approval of a 2% raise and a one-time incentive pay for all full-time and part-time employees. We appreciate the incentives and acknowledgement of our commitment to providing our students the best possible experience they can have at El Paso Community College. I would like to echo Dr. Serrata's sentiments during his Professional Development Day address and offer kudos to the classified staff for the continued dedication and service to the many programs and efforts at the college that they are a part of. In particular, I would like to recognize our frontline ambassadors, the employees in student services, are often the first face or voice that students come in contact with, even though they had to transition to providing virtual services while coping with new working environments, isolation, internet issues, childcare, or mental issues. Their loyalty and patience towards our students never faltered. Thank you, classified staff. Student services employees, please join us in giving them a big applause. We are still facing a truly unprecedented time. Even though we're in a much better position than we were a year ago, the pandemic continues to affect our families, our businesses, and our community. It is in these moments like this in which we are mindful of and glad to be a part of the EPCC family, a family that cares for each other in our community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay. I have a written report from the Student Government Association, and they have indicated that they will be joining us next month. Good evening, EPCC Board and College President. I would like to begin by introducing myself. My name is Christina Novato. I am a current culinary arts major, and I am the newly elected SGA President. I previously held office as an SGA Senator for the 2020-2021 school year. We, the Student Government Association, are currently in the process of welcoming all newly elected SGA officers as we look forward to a successful school year. I am excited to continue the work of past SGA presidents and look forward to resuming an audience with Dr. Sarata. I would like to thank you for the opportunity to be present in this meeting via reading of this report. Best regards, Christina Novato, SGA President.
1.8,
Item 1.8, communications, we have none. Item 1.9 will be addressed after executive session. Item 1.9.2, discussion and take action to reschedule the Board of Trustees meetings for the remainder of 2021.
okay, board members, we have a tight schedule the last 3 months of the year. We also have Dr. Sarata out of town for a lot of this time. I'm not blaming Dr. Sarata, but we have to figure out what we want to do. I was talking to Pam a little bit earlier. I was hoping we could move our October meeting to October the 21st, which is a Thursday. And we also discussed maybe moving the November meeting to the 15th because of Thanksgiving. And my personal opinion is give us December off for Christmas, but she says we have to have a meeting, so.
I didn't say we had to.
But I think you're tied up the first week, Dr. Sarata.
The first week of which,
December. You have something?
we do, Chair, but the SAC-COC conference has been deemed to be conducted virtual. So it was supposed to be in Dallas, it will now be virtual. So I'm sure I can carve out time. I apologize to the Board of Trustees. The SAC-COC, I am chairing a SAC-COC reaffirmation visit for the Northern Virginia Community College, and they have required that that be an in-person visit, and that is the last week of October.
Yeah, we have that. So in December, the one that's going to be virtual, what days are those?
What days of December, pardon me, Judge?
That's going to be virtual. You're not going to have.
Oh, it'll be Monday the 6th and Tuesday the 7th. On the 8th, Commissioner Keller will be visiting El Paso Community College. He'll be coming in that morning to visit us.
What's the 9th look like?
The 9th is fine.
So December 9th, if everybody's agreeable. To those 3 dates, October the 21st, November the 15th, and December the 9th. Does anybody have a problem with
November the what?
Huh?
November what?
The 15th.
I have an issue with November the 15th.
Okay.
I cannot do November the 15th.
What day is the 15th?
It's a Monday.
It's a Monday.
What day?
That is actually the week, I'm trying to think now.
Can you make it any other time in that week?
Yes, I can make it any other time, but just not the 15th.
Can we do the
This is
17th?
Tuesday
Can we do the
16th?
17th? Yeah. Yes.
How about the 17th?
Yes.
17th?
I can't make the 7th. Let's do the 16th. Anybody have a
16
problem
is
with
a
16th?
Tuesday.
It is go for me.
It's a Tuesday. You have a problem?
No?
Anybody have a problem with the 16th?
Um,
Okay, November the
16th?
16th.
This November the 16th, Ms. Robles? Mr. Axel? You okay?
Okay.
So no-
We don't need a motion on that, do we?
November the 16th?
Okay, I make a motion that our board meeting in October be on the 21st, November the 16th, which is a Tuesday, and December the, what did we say, the 9th or 10th?
Nine.
9th.
which is a Thursday.
Second.
Okay.
Question? These are the board meetings at 5 o'clock. Are we going to have any ECM presentations notes, or will we be starting at 4 on any of these dates?
And that's something that we need to discuss, because I think that instead of spending so much time listening to the same presentation over and over, saying that the buildings are not going to be ready, we need to start talking among ourselves and having more information and data on how our students are doing. You know, and we kind of need to refocus ourselves into that instead of I don't mind coming in at 4 or 3:30 for the meetings, but I think we need to carve out some time so we can look at the data and continuously be updating ourselves with the gains that we are making or the lack of, so that we know where to focus our efforts. That was something that became very evident to us that attended this last conference, that we are not spending enough time looking at data.
So,
I mean, I'm sorry, Dr. Serrata is, and I'm sure that the cabinet is too, and the staff, but I think as a board, we need to, if we're gonna start our meetings at 4 o'clock, carve out time to talk about our students and the progress that we are making or that we need to make, instead of so much about the problems with the construction.
so Counselor, we make it a data meeting. Does that cover any data so that we don't have to outline everything we discuss?
I'm sorry, I can't hear with the vent, Judge.
Okay, we were discussing after this last seminar we just went to, that if we started at 4 o'clock and we just call it a data information meeting, that way when we put it on the agenda, when you have to give them a 3 days heads up, we don't have to put precisely what data we're going to be looking at. We can just look, can't we just put it over, cover it all with data information?
We can. I think if you don't have to be necessarily specific in terms of what that data is, but if it's specific enough that you would be able to put the public on notice as to just in general what that data is without getting into any specifics, that would be just fine.
That would be my suggestion, is so that we can get with Dr. Serrata, because he's a data guy, and he can tell us, he kind of scared us a little bit with some of the data he gave us at the seminar. So I think as a board, we need to concentrate a little bit more so that we can work with him and the faculty and the team that he has assembled, so that we can hit these. I don't know if we can offer, I'm sure we can offer some insight on what we'd like to see, but I don't know if you all have a problem with that, but I would really like to see a data meeting at 4 o'clock before each board meeting.
So to go back to Mr. Exer's question, we're going to start at 4 then, not 5? Is it just
would
plan?
That was the plan, that we could start at 4 and then have between 4 and 5 time to review and examine or question the data or plan amongst everybody here, you know, the moving forward, what we need to focus on. And it doesn't mean that we're not in agreement with everything that everybody's doing. I think we're doing great things, but that was something that as a board, we need to be more on top of the data that is driving decisions and that is helping us get the college to a higher level.
Dr. Graham, just to follow up on the inquiry that the board has made, would this be just a discussion item where the board has the ability to just talk openly and freely without necessarily a corresponding action item, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And
That, you know, if something becomes necessary for us to take action on, then it would be scheduled for a future board meeting
ma'am.
on the agenda for that action item.
That's correct. That would be the proper process. And would this be, since we're talking about a start time at 4 o'clock, there are facility and finance committee meetings before then, would there not be a timing conflict?
I think what we had envisioned, and correct me if I'm wrong, those of us that were discussing it at the conference, is that rather than taking from 4 to 5 with the construction issues, we would just take, hey, 5 minutes for your presentation, and then we're done with that, and then we switch to, and I understand if it's gonna take 10 minutes, we're okay, we can have that flexibility, but not spend a long, long time on construction and not focus on our students
That's doable.
instead of the buildings.
So then we're gonna say it's part of the board meeting. So we'll say our board meeting starts at 4.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anybody have any other questions or any ideas or insight to that?
I guess the only question I would have for council is, so let's say that our board meeting now is scheduled from 4 on, and the first hour would be data discussions and all that. How do you fit in the construction issues? Is that a separate item, or do you put it under the same?
The construction issue, I mean, if you still want to have a facilities and finance committee meeting, you could do that. I think it's just a matter of setting expectations with the project manager to let them know that the time allotted for them to present to the board would be 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay.
That way it'll enable you to start either at 4 or 4:15, and that way you could just dedicate 10, 15 minutes for that initial facilities and finance, and then 15 minutes later, jump into your regular board meeting.
Okay.
Okay, so let's set it up that way. 4 o'clock for finance and facilities and 4:15 for board meeting. Do we need a motion on it?
If we've got the dates, I don't think we need to be so specific on time. We could certainly work that internally.
Okay. Did we call the question, Pam?
No, sir. Mrs. Robles? This, I think the question that we're calling now is on rescheduling of the board meetings for October 21st, November 16th, and December 9th. Is that correct?
Yes. She said aye.
Oh,
She said aye.
thank you. Mr. Uxer?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez?
Aye.
Dr. Graham?
Aye.
Ms. Naheda?
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty?
Aye.
Chair? Chair?
Yes.
Real quick, just as a comment, I like this. I think that whoever had this was a very good idea, this calendar. One request I would make is that go ahead and make this out for November and December, and then it can always be updated later on, but go ahead and put this out for us. I mean, with everything else, give us a feel for what happens.
Okay.
Thank you. Did Bill do this?
Yes,
Then
you
I
did.
guess it's okay. I was pretty good until No, you did good, Bill. Ask for a raise.
Okay, are we ready to move on?
1.11?
Item 1.11
did we
consent
choose?
docket. This includes item 3.2.
I think we skipped over 1.10.2.1. Dr.
You're
Williams
absolutely right, I'm
Serrato.
sorry, I
Bring us
misread
an
the
update.
page. Item 1.10, board reports. Item 1.10.1, treasurer's report, none. Item 1.10.2, president's report. Item 1.10.2.1, Dr. William Serrata, college president, will update the Board of Trustees and audience on recent events that have transpired at the college to include an update on the COVID-19 pandemic and appropriate actions taken.
Chair Haggerty and members of the board, always a pleasure to update you on activities at the institution. A year full of challenges has not impacted the success of our students, faculty and staff in the physical therapist assistant program. I'm proud to announce that the PTA program students had a 92% first-time licensure pass rate. This would not be possible without the great work and commitment from our faculty and staff, so thank you and congratulations to each of you. Congratulations to Dr. Christian Servin, Associate Professor of Information Technology Systems. Dr. Servin is a recipient of the 2021 Hispanic Engineer National Achievement Award in the education category. This national HENAC Award honors role models in science, technology, engineering, and math, STEM. The education category was created to honor the individuals involved in collegiate STEM education across the United States. For 31 years, Great Minds in Science has recognized the achievements of America's top engineers and scientists from the Hispanic community with the HENAC Awards. Dr. Savine has served the El Paso community, the state computer science education community, and the national computer science community by helping build solid computational pathways that lead to great computer science careers in the region. Thank you again and congratulations, Dr. Savine, for your dedication and serving as a great model for your students. Congratulations to Ms. Fan Chen, Associate Professor of Mathematics. Ms. Chen has been awarded the 2021 American Mathematical Association of Two-Year Colleges Teaching Excellence Award. This award celebrates instructional effectiveness, professional involvement, interaction with colleagues, and service to their department. Professor Chen was one of 3 awardees this year. The award will be presented to Ms. Chen at the AMA-TYC Annual Conference next month in Phoenix, Arizona. Professor Chen, you also serve as a great role model for our students. Congratulations on this outstanding achievement and for all you do. Our adjunct faculty also excel in their profession. Congratulations to Ms. Cristina Turrieta, adjunct faculty in the Health Information Management discipline. Ms. Turrieta will be published in the Journal of University Teaching and Learning Practice. The article is a collaboration titled Teaching Health Science Students During COVID-19, Cross-Hemisphere Reflections. Congratulations for the great work. In spring 2021, the math faculty collaborated to host Happy Math Hour series that incorporated into the Tejano virtual events on Friday afternoons. The event was created to support students enrolled in co-requisite courses by doing live weekly virtual sessions that review difficult topics covered. Our math faculty deliver the reviews, and student success tutors help by engaging students in the judgment-free space. Spring 2021 institutional research data shows students who participated in Happy Math had a 76% successful course completion rate versus 60% successful course completion of the non-participants in the same math course. Fall 2021 Happy Math is off to a great start as more students join others who seek support. Thank you to math leads Professor Yvette Chuca, Assistant Professor Albert Asasi, and Assistant Professor Ruben Carizales. Student Success Lead Ms. Delia Truman, and lead tutors Patricia Hennischer and Peter Sy, and Rafael Rodriguez. Student success is a priority, and you certainly contribute greatly to this effort. The Early Alert first-year program kicked off EPCC's First Time in College Welcome Week course from August 16th through August 20th. FTIC students enrolled in the online Welcome Week course received first-hand practice using Blackboard by interacting with faculty through live virtual sessions. There was outstanding participation from faculty members who collaborated and provided dynamic workshops to assist students with a successful first-year experience. In total, 1,213 students participated in the Welcome Week virtual sessions, which ended with a campus tour at the Valle Verde campus, where FTIC students had the opportunity to meet program staff and become familiar with the First Year Experience Center. Thank you to everyone that was part of this fantastic introduction of EPCC to first-time in college students. Mr. Joe Ferguson, Director of the Small Business Development Center, has accepted an invitation from the City of El Paso to participate in a steering committee of the City Learning and Action Lab, a new 12-month program led by the Aspen Institute's Latinos in Society program. El Paso is one of 5 cities chosen in a cohort, including Long Beach, California, San Bernardino, California, Chicago, Illinois, and San Antonio, Texas. The purpose of the initiative is to spur economic growth in regions where COVID-19 exacerbated long-existing inequities. The cohort of 8 to 10 steering committee members will coalesce around strategic priorities and implement solutions to boost and sustain the local Latino business economy. EPCC and our El Paso community are well represented with Mr. Ferguson's small business background and experience. Thank you, Mr. Ferguson, for joining this important initiative. El Paso Community College recently received the 2021 Higher Education Excellence in Diversity, or HEED, award from Insight into Diversity magazine. The magazine is the oldest and largest diversity-focused publication in higher education. EPCC's cross-country teams began the 2021 season at the 35th Laurie Fitzgerald Memorial Open held at New Mexico State University Golf Course. The runners competed against UTEP, NMSU, and the University of New Mexico and other top runners in the Southwest. The men's team finished 5th and the women's team finished 4th. I participated in 80 virtual and/or in-person meetings since our last board meeting. participated in 12 Texas Association Community College meetings as we continue to prepare for the third fall special session. Included in those were 2 TAC Executive Committee meetings, 1 TAC CEOs only call, 1 TAC full board meeting, 1 Business Advisory Board meeting, 2 Legislative Committee meetings. I met with the Senate Chair of Higher Education staff, also met with Lieutenant Governor Patrick's Higher Education point person, met with the TAC advocacy team. We held 1 Legislative Committee and Finance Commission coordination meeting, and we had 1 TAC officers call. I participated in the Texas 2036 Higher Education Finance Simulator Advisory Group meeting, attended the Faculty Association's meeting this fall, participated in the EPCC's Connecting the Dots conference, participated in the Operation Connectivity Phase 3 meeting at UTEP, met with Commissioner Kellers and members of a senior team. We held a COVID meeting with the college COVID team to review data as we began the fall 2021 term. Attended the American Association of Community Colleges Board Retreat in Pentagon City. I participated in the Lumina Foundation board meetings, participated in the Hospitals of Providence Combined Memorial and Sierra Campus Governing Board meeting, was fortunate to be interviewed by KVIA via Zoom, chaired the El Paso Collaborative for Academic Excellence meeting, attended the El Paso branch of the Dallas Federal Reserve Bank Joint Board of Directors meeting with Banco de Mexico, participated in the Excelencia in Education Board meeting, participated in the Aspen Rising Presidential Fellowships meetings, including the Capstone Projects presentations, participated in the EDA Build Back Better regional discussion with El Paso County officials, participated in the County Workforce Development Seminar meeting with Ms. Melissa Carrillo and Mr. Jose Landeros from El Paso County. I met with the El Piso and Board Interface leadership, presented to the Latino Student Success Funders Group, participated in the Future of Work Committee meeting held by Borderplex Alliance. We conducted the annual State of the College Address virtually, during which we had 1,141 employees who participated. The address was also viewed 529 times on YouTube. I recorded a message for the Hispanic Heritage Month celebration. Participated, as the board heard, in the Board of Trustees Institute with Chair Haggerty, Vice Chair Dr. Graham, Mrs. Robles, and Ms. Nájera in Austin. We met with Dr. Brad Johnson, who is the Vice President for Community College Relations at West Texas A&M University, along with Dr. Smith and Dr. Amaya. And we are now in our 4th month of our return to campus operation plan. And let me transition into our COVID report. We've had our 14 days of decreasing cases. We're currently averaging 89 cases per day, which is lower than the prior 2 weeks, during which we averaged 91 cases per day, and lower than the 2 weeks before that, when we averaged 111 cases per day. We're pleased that the number of daily cases continue to be significantly below the 212 case limit per day for a community our size. The rolling 7-day average has been a concern, as it continues to fluctuate above and below the 5% recommended rate, and today was at 6.86%. The cumulative positivity rate stands at 9.16% today and has continued a downward trajectory. The infection rate continues to fall, and we have not seen a single day for the last 4 weeks of exceeding the daily total of 212 cases. We currently stand at 75.2% of our population, age 12 or older, fully vaccinated, and 87.4% of our population, age 12 or older, having received their first vaccination. To summarize, we continue to meet the 14 days of decreasing cases, and fortunately, daily cases have fallen. The infection rate in the 7-day rolling average continues to fluctuate, and 7 out of the last 21 days have been above the recommended 5%. The cumulative positivity rate continues to fall and has been less than or equal to 10% for 17 consecutive weeks. My recommendation is that we continue in phase 2 of our return to campus plan, which we have had in place since Monday, August 23rd. As a reminder, phase 2 of our return to campus plan has the college operating at 50% capacity, with 100% of staff participating. I do not believe that the data currently supports us moving forward with phase 3 of our plan, during which we would operate at 75% capacity with 100% of staff participating. We will continue to monitor the data and keep the Board of Trustees informed of any recommended changes for your consideration. Chair, that concludes my report, and I'm happy to entertain any questions from the board.
When do you sleep?
On flights.
Just checking. Okay. Anybody have any questions for Dr. Strong? Thank you, Doctor. Next item, Pam.
Item 1.11 consent docket. This includes item 3.2.
Hear a motion?
Motion made.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question?
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Naheda.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 2.0, administration. Item 2.1, to delete existing El Paso County Community College District Board policies that are redundant with Texas Association of School Boards legal policies.
Move to approve?
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question?
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Naheda.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 2.2, to delete existing El Paso County Community College District Board policies that are no longer needed.
Move to approve?
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question?
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Naheda.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 2.3, TASB DBD policy is presented for first reading and approval.
Move to approve?
2.3, 2.4, 2.5, and 2.6, please.
I agree.
I would just kindly ask if item 2.6 could be taken up after executive session.
2.6.
Okay, I
Can
think,
we
Pam, we have a
include
motion for
2.7?
2.3, 2.4, 2.5, and 2.7. Is that
2.7.
correct?
Is that your motion, Dr. Graham?
Is that correct, Dr. Graham?
Dr. Graham?
Yes.
And you seconded?
Yes.
Okay. Any discussion? Call the question?
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Naheda.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 3.0 is the personnel section. Item 3.1, discussion and action to approve full-time staff and faculty recruited in positions funded by the institutional budget.
Move to approve?
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Chair
Yeah,
Haggerty, I would just remind the board that we did include a additional sheet where we had missed an employee. Our apologies. That is on each of your respective. It's page 103 of this respective area.
Yes, sir. You got it.
Any discussion? Call the question?
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Naheda.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 4.1, discussion and action on the approval of contracts, of contract awards to purchase printing services and promotional items in an amount not to exceed $550,000.
Move to approve. Second.
Any discussion? Call the question?
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Naheda.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 4.2, discussion and action on the approval to award a contract to Business Environments for the purchase of furniture for the Mission Del Paso First Year Experience Center in an amount not to exceed $61,241.
Move to approve?
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Nahida.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 4.3, discussion and action on the approval of an extension to the existing contract for on-site food services at the Valle Verde campus.
Move to approve 4.3, 4.4, and 5.1.
I hear a second.
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 Any discussion?
They need to read the items.
After, there's no discussion on them. Go ahead and read it.
Wait.
4.4 and 5.1. Go ahead and read it.
Item 4.3, discussion, okay, I think that's the one we just read. 4.4, discussion and action on the approval of an extension to the existing contract for on-site ATM services district-wide. And item 5.1 is discussion and action on the approval to increase the existing award limit of contract with Olympus Janitorial Services Incorporated for district-wide janitorial services and support in an annual amount not to exceed $364,849.
Dr. Salata, Chair Haggerty, I was advised by staff right before the meeting on item 5.1, there's a typo. It should not be Olympus Janitorial Services. The correct name for the contractor is Olympus Building Services.
So noted. Any discussion?
Yes, Chair Haggerty. Couple of questions. Back on 4.1, it said, I noticed in here, said the contract soon expired. Normally, a request for RFP for this service would be extended several months prior to contract. However, on the ongoing remote learning necessary, yada, yada, is, we've gone through the 3-year contract, and if I read it correctly, then we've extended the additional 2 years. Can we just go ahead and extend for another year? I mean, are we legally, is this okay? I mean, I don't have any real problem with it, but are legally okay to do that?
If there's a need to have a legal discussion, Mr. Uxer, we would have to have it in executive section under section 551071. But I understand that this item has already been approved.
Yeah, that was already approved.
If we're looking at item 4.1.
4.1 was already approved, Mr. Axel, were you looking at that?
I'm looking at 4.3.
We
Food
could certainly,
services at Valle Verde.
yeah, we could certainly have that discussion if the board so chooses to have that discussion, because I think.
I'm just, do we need discussion whether you can say that it meets legal requirements or no? Do we need to discuss that in private session, or can you just say yes?
I would recommend, because I think the discussion will be much more substantive, and I think it'll actually cover items 4.3 and 4.4, because it's the same rationale that you're bringing up.
But it had an extensive explanation on the agenda.
I understand, but there will be some legal considerations, and I did have an opportunity to talk to staff to raise some concerns myself, and as I've said, I think there's going to be more discussion than just a simple yes or no.
Then the second question, 4.3, are there food services, are we considering food services at any other, do we have separate contracts at any of the other campus, just as a general deal? Or this?
Mr. Axer, this is actually for off-the-grill contract. This is for the what do you call it, the food truck that we have on the Valle Verde campus. It does not cover all food services, only for off-the-grill contract.
Okay. So we need to consider separate contracts for each of the other campuses?
Those contracts are already in effect, sir.
But I mean, they are separate contracts, what I'm
Yes,
asking.
sir.
Okay, okay. And, yeah. Then I guess is 4.4, since we're reading all of them, is it open for a question there? Okay. Are we considering ATM services at any of the other campuses, or are we going to restrict it strictly at Valle Verde?
This is for all campuses, sir, district-wide. The ATM is for district-wide.
So in other words, we're going to extend ATM to all, we only have ATM services now at Valle Verde, is that correct?
We have them at all campuses, sir.
Oh, okay. I'm behind.
It's okay.
And then.
We also have them at the Administrative Service Center, at all facilities.
Okay. And then on 5.1, just out of curiosity, how do they compute the cost? Do they compute the cost of ongoing services on a square foot, cost per square foot? How do they compute the cost for maintenance?
I believe it's, I think probably Mr. Lobato can answer that much better than I can because he's much closer to those calculations.
Good evening. Yes, sir, this does complete the cost for all the buildings that are being added.
Yeah, no, but how do you calculate the cost?
Oh, that's calculated by square footage. Olympus gives a cost of I believe $1.20 per square foot for services. And they've held that since the beginning of their contract.
I'm so glad.
Okay, so do we still need to move 4.3 and 4.4 to after?
That would be
executive
my
session?
recommendation, Judge. So the only item, I guess, for vote would be item 5.1, subject to the change I've outlined.
Okay, so Dr. Graham, could you make a new motion saying that 4.3 and 4.4 after executive, and you want to approve 5.1?
4.3 and 4.4.
Well, there wouldn't be, Judge, a need to do a motion to have items 4.3 and 4.4 in executive session. There is already a motion in place for item 5.1, so there could be a.
But that included 4.3 and 4.4.
If that's the case, we would require then a new motion.
I'll make a motion to move items 4.3, 4.4 into executive session pursuant to 551.071, which is to receive legal advice and consultation. That's my motion.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Nahida.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Okay, and then
5.2.
item 5.1.
No, 2.
5.2.
2.
Our
We just
motion
voted
included
on one.
5.1.
No, we didn't vote on 5.1, did we?
I believe we still needed to take the vote on 5.1 because we
Correct.
voted instead
Okay.
on moving the two items into executive session.
That's correct.
Stand correction. Do I have a motion on 5.1?
Move to approve. Second.
Any question? Call the question.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Nahida.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 5.2, discussion and action on the approval to add TK elevators to the pre-approved expenditures list of vendors for the purchase of building materials, supplies, and/or services needed district-wide for fiscal year 2021, 2022 in an amount not to exceed $300,000.
Move to approve?
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Nahida.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 6.0, curriculum and instruction. Item 6.1, discussion and action on the approval of a memorandum of agreement with the Socorro Independent School District to teach emergency medical services program courses to Socorro Independent School District students in the amount of $64,006.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Abstain?
Ms. Nahida.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 6.2, discussion and action on the acceptance of a grant from the Department of Education for the EPCC Institutional Resilience and Expanded Post-Secondary Opportunity Program in the amount of $1,558,236.
Move to approve 6.2 and 6.3.
Second.
My only discussion is, great job, Dr. Smith. A lot of money.
Well, thank you, Judge, but certainly it's not my doing. We're fortunate to have a couple of folks here that are leading these initiatives. We've got Dr. Soraya Hajar, if we could recognize her in the back. Thank you. And a name that's becoming increasingly common on these grants, Dr. Maisha Pagel and her team. So Maisha, great job.
We expect that every month. Good job, thank you. Do we have any more discussion?
Yep, I have a question, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
On 6.3, it said, if I understand, this is acceptance for the program will continue, and said grant funds will be used to hire 2 full-time. Is this a program already in existence?
If you're talking about the item 6.3?
Yes.
Mr. Uxer, yes, we have a robust OER set of offerings right now. This just allows us to expand.
Okay, if we're doing that and we're functional, then why do we need to hire 2? I'm not questioning, I'm just curious, why is it that, what is there about this program is an extension that we now need to hire 2 new people?
The hiring allows us to expand some of these offerings into additional areas so that they're designed to provide the student and instructor support.
So this is not just an extension, but this is an expansion?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, that's satisfactory.
Any other discussion? Call the question.
I believe I've read item 6.3 yet, so I'll just do that very quickly here. Discussion and action on the acceptance of an open education resources course development and implementation grant in the amount of $50,000. Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Nájera.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Section 7, Student Services. Item 7.1, discussion and action on the approval of a license agreement with Missionary Radio Evangelism Higher Ground Hosting, MRE, to place and operate police radio equipment on the Walton Peak Mount Franklin Communications Site in an amount not to exceed $206,080.
Move to approve, and I do have a question.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Go ahead, Dr. Brown.
This had quite a bit of information on this contract or agreement. Did we have legal review this already?
Dr. Graham, we have Mr. Ainsa, who is representing the college in this particular matter. So he has reviewed it and is willing to answer any specific question. Thank you for being here, Mr. Ainsa.
And then my other question is do we have to go 5 years? Can it be less?
It's a 5-year term, Dr. Graham, with three renewal options of 5 years each.
Any other questions?
I just wanted to make sure that we don't have any glitches in it because it was not easy to understand for those of us that read it, since this is not the type of work that we normally get engaged in, so I'm not sure. That's why I was asking if legal had a chance to review the contract itself.
Yes, Dr. Graham, it's been ongoing for several years even, and I was involved a couple years ago with it, reviewed it at that time. It got postponed for a certain period of time, reviewed it again. So I've gone through it in depth and would be glad to answer any questions you have.
I don't have any specific questions, other than does it have to be for 5 years, or can it be for less?
The parties could agree to any term. That was what was proposed by the parties, and I believe that's beneficial to obviously the Chief Ramirez, and perhaps he could answer that question.
No other questions? Chief, you want to tell us what you need it for? Your radio's working or your cell phone's better?
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, sir, as Mr. Ainsworth just explained, the parties agreed to a 5-year term. This is a crucial piece of equipment for the police department. Our present radio system is pretty old. We have had a lot of difficulties with it, and this will greatly enhance our communication with everybody in the district and also with other law enforcement agencies. So for these reasons, I'm asking that this get approved. I also asked Mr. Frank Longoria, which is the owner of the RTC company, Incorporated, to be present just in case more technical questions were asked. But I've received some responses from him, so, any other questions you may want to ask, you can, if I can answer, I will. If not, maybe I'll ask him to answer for me.
So basically, when it's all said and done, what this wordy contract or agreement is going to do is enable you to maximize your communication, not just within your department with all your officers, but outside with other law enforcement. Is that the way I understood it?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, we'll be able to communicate with the EPPD and as well as the Sheriff's Office and other emergency services also, as well. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Any other discussion? Call the question.
Mrs. Robles. Aye. Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Naheda.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 7.2, discussion and action on the approval of continuing education tuition rates for new courses.
Move to approve, and I do have some questions.
Second.
Any discussion? Go ahead, Dr. Graham.
So, sir, on this, I guess this would be for Dr. Smith. I guess it concerns me that we go from, like, for example, the SL Bridge grammar, the old hours were 277, we're dropping them to 92. And then right below that, the construction costs, we more than doubled that. We went from 128 to 263. And I understand raising tuition a little bit, but I'm concerned that we're putting some of this tuition way too high and unaffordable. Is there any consideration to maybe somebody writing some grants to try and offset the cost? Because we don't want the community not to be able to participate or have their sons or daughters participating. For example, the ESL for children on page 147, we went from 20 hours to 12. And, there's a few others that drop like that. And then some that are saying the reason the cost went up was because of instructional ingredients that increase the cost for that. But then the hours are decreased. And what does that have to do with ingredients? So kind of, if you can generally give me an answer to.
Well, certainly, Dr. Graham, and I'll speak in generalities, but we are happy to provide any detail that you might want on each individual course. There are a couple of things that you see in the revised course pricing item that may seem counterintuitive at first glance. The ESL Bridge Grammar course that you mentioned, going from 277 hours down to 92, that's actually a correction in our banner catalog. It's actually a sequence of 4 courses that we charge $60 for, and the 4 courses together total 277 hours. The first one, which is ESL Bridge Grammar, is 92 hours, and when you include the other 3, which are provided at no cost after the first $60 course. So that one's kind of an outlier and maybe a little bit interesting to understand looking at the item in the agenda. But that's just a correction in banner. What we're finding is, in general, there's a number of courses that we offer that haven't been taught in a while. And so as we look to make sure, we don't make a lot of money on these courses. We don't offer them to make a huge profit, but we do try to break even. And so in general, there's two ways that we can address that. We can increase tuition or reduce instructional costs. In some cases, if you look at the culinary items, you'll see that the food costs have gone up, and I think we've all maybe experienced that at the grocery store to some extent. In some cases, we've done both. We've decreased instructional costs by reducing hours, as well as increased tuition slightly. But rest assured that we are very cognizant of making sure that what we offer the community is low cost, but at the same time high quality. The other thing that you'll see in some of these items is phrasing such as the new tuition rate allows course to open with a minimum of 5 students. And so what we've seen over the pandemic is we've had to cancel a number of courses because of low enrollment. We just didn't get the students signing up that we were hoping to see. And so we've adjusted to allow the classes to make with a smaller student population. Hopefully that will correct itself over time as people become more comfortable going face-to-face in some of these classes. I hope that answers your question, but I'm happy to provide
What about the
detail.
bridge grammar? How did, no, I'm sorry, not that one, the construction cost estimating.
Yeah,
Why
that-
did it go more than double?
Yeah, that one we found out, Dr. Graham, that the last couple of times we had offered it, by the way, that was back in 2006, we actually lost money when we offered the course. And so there was a pretty significant adjustment as we reconstituted that course in order to offer it for current students. And I'm happy to provide the details and the student counts.
No,
for
that's
all.
fine. I just wondered if there's any opportunities that you would kind of share with the grant writers to be on the lookout for grants. I've seen some grants coming through for, activities for kids, and I was just looking at the one like cooking for kids. That should be a fascinating one, but, I don't know that the parents can afford $95.
So we will certainly look for that, just for the board's benefit. The other, one of the other things that we're looking at is offering programs for children at times when their parents are going to school. And so parents would be able to come to school, drop their kids off to do cooking for kids. Maybe that's not a great example of dropping your kids off, but you get the idea, so that parents are able to have activities for their children while they're actually pursuing a degree with us.
That's a great idea. Thank you, sir. Appreciate the information.
Any other questions? Call the question.
Mrs. Robles?
She said aye.
Mr. Uxer?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez?
Aye.
Dr. Graham?
Aye.
Ms. Naheda?
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty?
Aye.
Item 7.3, discussion and action on the approval of continuing education tuition rates for revised courses.
Move to approve?
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question.
Mrs. Robles?
Aye.
Mr. Uxer?
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez?
Aye.
Dr. Graham?
Aye.
Ms. Naheda?
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty?
Aye.
And community services, there are none. Would you like to recess into executive session?
We're going to go into executive session. You have to read your little.
The Board of Trustees may conduct an executive or closed session pursuant to Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code for one or more of the following reasons: consultation with its attorney to seek or receive legal advice, or consultation regarding pending or contemplated litigation, or for any purpose authorized by law, discussion about the value or transfer of real property, discussion about a prospective gift or donation, consideration of specific personnel matters, discussion about security personnel or devices, or discussion of certain economic development matters. The board may also announce that it will go into executive session on any item listed on this agenda if the subject matter is permitted for a closed session by provisions of Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code. Any vote regarding these items shall be taken in open session. Item 1.3.1, discussion with legal counsel regarding suspension of employee in the Department of Communication, of Art, Communication, Career and Technical Education and Social Sciences and related matters pursuant to Section 551.074 of the Texas Government Code.
Okay, we are resuming our meeting after executive session. It's, for the record, 7:45. Ms. Pam?
Yes, I'll read the first item. It's under Board of Trustees Business, item 1.9.1, discussion and take possible action regarding suspension of employee in the Department of Art, Communication, Career and Technical Education, and Social Sciences and related matters.
My motion would be to approve the suspension of the employee.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Call the question, please, ma'am. Any discussion? Nope. Call the question.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
And just for the record, we'll note that Mr. Haggerty and Ms. Nahara did not return. And would you like me to go to the next item?
Yes, ma'am. 2.6.
Item 2.6 is the TASB DM, this is to, wait, let me see. First reading, review, and comment is on the DMC employment requirements and restrictions, conflict of interest policy.
No action.
No,
No action on 2.6? Thank you.
no, that's not, I'm sorry, I don't think
That's
that's the
on
right
the-
policy, I'm sorry.
The 2.6?
It's 2.6.
DMAA,
It's
did
the
I read the wrong
TASB
one?
DMAA,
Yes.
Sorry, I read the wrong one. Okay.
What happened?
So
the local.
this is the DMAA local policies presented for second reading and approval. DMAA term contracts, termination mid-contracts, sorry.
No action.
And we go now to the next one. No action on that one. 4.3.
Item 4.3, discussion and action on the approval of an extension to the existing contract for on-site food services at the Valle Verde campus.
My motion would be to approve and authorize staff to negotiate with the current vendor for on-site food services in amount equal to or up to $50,000.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Ms. Pam, call the question, please.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Item 4.4, discussion and action on the approval of an extension to the existing contract for on-site ATM services district-wide.
My motion is to approve and authorize staff to negotiate an extension with the existing contract for on-site ATM services district-wide.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Nope. Call the
Miss-
question, please.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye. And that concludes our action items. The next board meeting, I do want to announce all three of the upcoming meetings. We have next one, October 21st, and the next one, November 16th, and the next one, December the 9th. And notice that the schedules had to be moved a little bit to accommodate for some travels and things.
Thank you.
It is 7:50.
Adjourn.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here.